Hello everyone, this is Crota giving you game 1 in a second set between Loner and NEXGenius. This game was taken from BlizzCon 2010, NEXGenius spawning as the red Protoss player here at the 8 o'clock position, meanwhile Loner spawning over here on the north side of the map as the blue Terran. So as I said earlier, this is the second best of 3 set between Loner and NEXGenius, or technically the third. Loner and NEXGenius had played each other in the winners bracket. Loner took the first set, so knocking NEXGenius down to the lower loser bracket. However, NEXGenius was able to fight his way back and get back into this game, and now I realize I need to make sure people do not randomly message me. So there we go. And yeah, so NEXGenius was able to fight his way back and then take the first best of 3 set that I had casted yesterday. So I will now be casting the second set here. So taking a look at NEXGenius's build, pretty standard build so far, nothing too out of the ordinary. We see a pylon currently in play, just both sides just getting those standard probes and SCVs. Nothing too strange or out of the ordinary coming in so far. So Loner continuing to get more and more SCVs. Most likely will throw down a barracks in just a moment. And then there we go. And also going to start scouting out with an SCV as well. So there we go. Scouting out with this SCV. Both sides will be able to find each other relatively early. Now, because of the close spawning locations here on this map, there are a number of possibilities that NEXGenius could try to do. I was going to say that he could possibly go for a 2-gate, but that does not seem to be the case, as he is now getting an assimilator, just opening up with that standard build, 1 gateway into an assimilator. Back over here, we now see a probe trying to go after 1 SCV, and very nicely done, just only going after that SCV there. That SCV is down to 20 hit points, and now this probe may come back for more action. It is recharging its shields, and if it comes in here, he may be able to delay this 1 barracks. No, will not be able to delay it, as this SCV able to come back in time. There we go. That 1 SCV on minerals now. That probe does not want to engage. Back over here, we now see 1 SCV trying to take down this pylon here. We do see a cybernetics core coming in. So with the cybernetics core coming in, we should be getting an early stalker. Normally now, NEXGenius or a lot of Protoss players do not get an early zealot whatsoever. They just wait until they can build up for that early stalker. That stalker is such a strong counter unit towards the early marine, and also even against those marauders until those marauders are able to get stim pack or those concussive shells. We do have currently an additional marine currently being trained, and now getting another supply depot here, and now going into a factory. So a standard barracks into a factory so far, as this probe hugging around the corner perhaps wants to be able to get into the base, perhaps even be able to set up a pylon back here for a proxy pylon. That would be a very, very gutsy move, as this probe now walking into the space here, however, will find itself on the wrong end of a Gauss rifle there, and now that probe forcing itself back down to 16 hit points, will be able to escape, and now 1 SCV also returning home after relaying a lot of information home. So NEXGenius now with a double assimilator opening, going more for a tech build right now, and also has a gateway up. So one of the strengths of an early Protoss is if you see an early 2 gas opening, you really don't know quite what he's going for. He could still go for a 4-gate and then just try to get a lot of sentries and stalkers. So just because you see an early assimilator does not mean that it is going to be a definite early, robotics facility or a Stargate. However, NEXGenius now getting 3 gateways. So this is already a very interesting opening, and now perhaps going to get another pylon in just a moment. There we go. 1 sentry over here on the high ground, being able to block off and then split up the army. We do also have 1 stalker on the low ground as well. So poor probe will get taken down relatively quickly there. However, that probe needs to take 3 hits before it takes its shot down. And now the stalker coming back home. So we have a very, very small army coming out. We do also see a robotics facility coming into play. So was this oh, that was the robotics facility. I had thought that that was the gateway and this was the robotics facility. So it is going to be a 2-gate, and now an observer being trained. It's pretty much that standard observer being trained by NEXGenius in order to figure out what exactly is happening. We do see a 2nd sentry now coming in. Oh, getting a force field. That force field is in the wrong spot, so that Hellion will be able to come in here, getting some damage, and now more units will simply be able to walk in over here. However, not doing a good job. And now these sentries being able to force that attack back, and now more zealots being warped into the front. We also see an observer coming in by NEXGenius, so NEXGenius will be able to finally get some scouting out and figure out that it is in fact going to be a 1-1-1 build with the command center currently being placed down. So Loner now getting a second barracks as well, perhaps going to do a little bit of a tech lab swap in order to get a starport with that tech lab relatively early, and now Marines and Marauders over here on this high ground in order to push back any attack. We do see one observer in the air. That observer will be able to give a lot of sight into the base, and I do not believe that we are going to get an early Raven, perhaps an early Banshee. Yeah, so out comes an early Banshee. No, this is one of the things I want to see tried by more Terran players is getting an early Raven. That early Raven would force the observer to pull out of the base much more quickly, and then forcing the Protoss player to spend and invest an additional 100 minerals, or sorry, 100 gas in an extra observer. On top of that, the early Raven would be able to get point defense drones down relatively quickly. So nicely done so far. As of now, we have an observer in the air, still wandering around here, doing a great job so far, gaining sight, and now we also have a medevac being trained. So Banshee into a medevac. This one Banshee, however, will not be able to deal all too much damage, as there are going to be stalkers, and now you can already see NEXGenius going straight into Colossi. That is going to be a decent amount of Colossi, or one or two Colossi will be, or two Colossi may be joining this fight relatively quickly, as we are now chrono boosting the robotics facility in order to try to get that Colossi out much more quickly. That will take quite some time, even if it is chrono boosted. And now in comes a Banshee trying to snipe off some kills, getting 1 kill, 2 kills already, and now going to get a 3rd kill. And this is getting a little greedy, going in for 4 kills and now able to pull back. So Loner nicely done, getting a little bit, or trying to even out that economic gain with down to 31 harvesters. So you can take a look, 33 harvesters compared to 32. However, Loner will be able to get more harvesters in just a moment, as soon as he starts training off of double orbital commands and starts calling down more mules. However, the Stalker may be able to shoot down this Banshee down to 10 hit points, able to barely escape there. So nicely done once again. And now Loner trying to train up more Marauders, more Marines, and get that starport up and running. So we do see one SCB currently repairing that Banshee. Banshee up to 27 hit points already as this fight continues. And now in come Marine and Marauders. Siege tanks are not in siege mode. And now with one Colossi there, we'll be able to get a lot of damage off relatively easily there. Now trying to turn around, trying to pick off some of those Zealots there. And now using that long distance attack of that Banshee, range of 6. And able to shoot down more and more units. We do see one observer over here by NEXGenius, so he's able to see this army here. And now we get another pylon, so the Colossi able to deal a lot of damage and now move these sentries. Once again, another force field coming in, trying to split up this army, unable to, however. And now we can see him activating this on Naga Watchtower. We are currently getting siege check. However, siege check is quite a ways away, and now we are finally getting one Viking. One Viking and a second Viking should be trained. Yes, we do have a reactor, and now we are going into mass barracks. I'm not quite sure what Loner is thinking, trying to go for mass barracks when he already sees 2 or 1 Colossi, and he has to assume that extended thermal lance research will be upgraded in just a moment. In comes a scanner sweep, revealing that Colossi group to Loner. Loner having a permanent scanner sweep with this one observer here, able to gain sight, and now not be using any Ravens or anything that can really reveal this one observer. So I believe NEXGenius has a little bit of advantage because he's never playing in the dark. Army-wise, 2675 versus 2450. You can see more another Immortal being trained, and concussive shells also being researched as well. 2 more Vikings also will be able to join in on this army. There are a decent number of Stalkers on the ground. Vikings trying to get in position, however, will not be able to snipe down those Colossi. Those Colossi are vulnerable to air damage, and now coming in once again. So we have a lot of Vikings here. Will the Vikings be able to deal any significant damage towards those Colossi? Vikings have a range of 9, same as a Colossi when it has its range upgraded, and now those Stalkers trying to push in. Siege tanks do not have siege tech just quite yet. It looks like it was canceled as more Marauders and Marines coming in, so it canceled the siege tech in order to get more Vikings, and now all these units trying to pull back as he sees, and now a couple Marauders just simply walking to their death, using stim to try to get all the way home. And now we see one observer continuing to give chase so far. Extended thermal lance research nearing completion. Needs another, 90 game seconds, and then the attack should be on. Couple of Marauders over here on that high ground. More Marines and Marauders. No combat shield research just quite yet, as these Vikings try to deal more damage and try to counter the air units, or sorry, the Colossi of NEXGenius. NEXGenius is just so powerful in this stage in the game, and all he has to do is, on top of this, if he does go for a Templar Archives, he will be able to get size from Vikings trying to come in. However, Stalkers move more quickly than Vikings, and those Stalkers able to pick off those Vikings there. So once again, Loner losing a lot of units. Once again, these Vikings, or losing one Viking, and then so he's down to what, only 4 right now. We do have a scanner sweep, and down goes finally that observer. So Loner finally getting that one observer. Not quite sure why he just didn't build a missile turret. He may not have an engineering bay. Yeah, and that is the case. He does not have an engineering base so far into this game. We now see Colossi standing here, a lot of Stalkers, and then these siege tanks finally sieging up, trying to fight back. However, they sieged at the wrong time, trying to fight back and forth. Marines and Marauders trying to deal more damage. However, the Colossi able to deal so much damage. Zealots now trying to give chase. However, they do not have the charge upgrade. So these Marines and Marauders simply using those stim packs and turning around and trying to use those concussive shells. So able to focus down more, or just focus back against those units there. We do see one Banshee down to 18 hit points. Stalkers are trying to deal more and more damage, as well as these Marauders trying to give chase. Once again, will they be able to get more damage across those Zealots? Now trying to give more damage. However, the extended thermal lance research has been completed, and now NEXGenius, it does not worry about those Marauders nearly as much as those Colossi are able to get within that damage range of those Marauders very, very easily. Stalkers, 3 Colossi, a very large army indeed for NEXGenius, and now perhaps going to try to push in over here. We do see Marines and Marauders trying to come in from the back, 1 Banshee as well, and we also have 1 Viking here. However, the counter units not looking too good as these units now moving out. SCVs coming off the mineral line, Zealots also moving in as well, fighting back and forth. 1 Banshee coming in from behind as well, trying to deal more damage towards those Colossi. Colossi now falling down, 1 Colossi down to 184 hit points. As this fight continues, we do have, what, 4 Vikings in the air. We'll quickly be able to shoot down that last Colossi. However, there's too many Stalkers to really do anything about any further. NEXGenius is not able to shoot up onto this high ground. Not quite sure why the Zealots are going after those supply depots. That's a little bit of a mistake there by NEXGenius. If NEXGenius had just simply walked up the ramp, I think this game would have been over. However, Stalkers and Colossi now pushing in once again, and the game may still be over even with that mistake. And Loner says GG. So Loner trying to move out with early aggression, unable to get up that ramp because of that sentry with that force field. That's force field blocking that ramp right there, and then minimizing the amount of damage. NEXGenius able to quickly get into Colossi after that 1 scouting observer, and really Loner didn't stand a chance whatsoever. He tried to use Marauders to try to counter those Colossi. However, Colossi with stim, so much damage is dealt to them when they use that stim, and then trying to chase an extended thermal lance range Colossi, just not a good sign. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I hope you guys enjoyed this 1v1 replay between Loner and NEXGenius here on Lost Temple. Stay tuned for game 2 in this best of 3 series.